Buddy, and welcome back to another episode of Coffee with the Critters, where I live stream on the Animal Behavior Center's Facebook page every Sunday morning at 9:30 a.m., unless otherwise noted. The only other times we live stream at a different time is if we have on a guest that is from a different time zone, um, or if I'm traveling. Occasionally, we live stream on a Saturday night, about once every 2 to 3 months, called Cocktails with the Critters, where we open it up for everybody to come online and discuss a topic. So, for those that may be new, my name is Lara Joseph. I am owner of the Animal Behavior Center. We're an international educational center where we teach people all over the world how to empower animals and the people that care for them. We do that through our live streaming services, which you can find on our website at theanimalbehaviorcenter.com. We have annual online memberships for species specific um, parrots, pigs, exotics, deaf dogs, what have you. And what I do is I teach people how to understand the science of behavior and behavior change. I do that through helping people understand applied behavior analysis using B.F. Skinner's laws of behavior and positive reinforcement. So you can also contact me by reaching me directly at my email. So if you have questions or are hesitant to post online on these live streams, feel free to email me your questions at Lara, Lara, at theanimalbehaviorcenter.com. Um, Before we get started, and I really want to focus on trying to keep this to a half an hour, which I fail because I just want to help people, give information. A lot of people are having behavior issues and behavior concerns, and they don't know why it's happening. And that is what I am here to do, is to help you understand why behavior issues are happening and how you can change them. Just a couple more slides before we get started. You can find out about the events we have on our event page or on our website under events. Um, there we will post upcoming workshops, live streams that we're going to focus on certain species or certain behaviors. Make sure you join our email newsletter list. I hope you guys have been enjoying the emails I've been sending out. I've been doing really well at getting them out regularly. You can join our email list on our website or right here on our Facebook page. We have an upcoming workshop that is sold out. It's sold out within 12 hours of being posted to the public. And we now have a waiting list for that workshop. And I can tell you more about some other things we have coming up after this live stream. So I did a poll, several polls recently, saying, what can I do to help you with on certain topics or behaviors or species that you want to see? And these were in our memberships, in our projects, and we got a lot of great feedback. So I thank you for that. That helps me it lets me know what I do need to do next, and how I can help you. Those of you that know the work that we do know that, and I just had a meeting about this last night, I am extremely passionate about the work that I do. I love to empower animals. I want to see them thriving. I want to see them thriving in our care, no matter what the species. I get very anxious and nervous when I see an animal that is showing signs of stress, showing signs of frustration. And I know that people that are caring for them, if they see those signs of stress and frustration, it often makes them nervous, anxious, frustrated. And I am here to help you, to let you know that you can change these behaviors. I work with numerous different species. from alligators, different species of birds, giraffe, bison, reptiles, because I focus on applied behavior analysis because it works across the board, no matter what the species. So feel free to interact during this live stream. I have a whole list of things I need to get through within this half hour. In that poll that I created, somebody said, I think people really need help in understanding what positive reinforcement is. So I've sat here starting late yesterday afternoon, organizing what we can cover. And I am not going to get it all covered. This behavior isn't easy. If it was, all of you would not be here right now. I always say the more intelligent the animal, the harder it is to care for. We have behavior issues even in our own society that we struggle with in our own concerns. So today I'm going to cover several different topics. I'm going to explain positive reinforcement. I'm going to give examples. I'm going to give examples of how we knowingly reinforce desired behaviors, how we unknowingly reinforce undesired behaviors. And that is why the undesired behaviors exist. I've got some slides to go with it, but there's going to be a part 2, and there may even be a part 3, because as I'm digging into this, I'm trying to give you key concepts to get you thinking, understanding. And if you listen to the information I give you today, go through your week and start thinking about some of the things I talk about, and you'll start picking up, there, I see it. I see that. Now I understand why this is happening. So feel free to give me a comment here. And those of you that know the work that I do know that every Sunday after Coffee with the Critters, I go through and will answer comments after the live stream is over. Jen says, with positive reinforcement, there still must be consequences. Yeah. And so many times when I hear people talk about consequences for behavior, one of the first things they think of is like positive punishers, negative consequences for behavior. Every behavior has a consequence. Every behavior happens for a reason. If there is no behavior that happens for no reason, animals give us behaviors and they will repeat behaviors that bring consequences, desired consequences. Now, those consequences may not be desirable by us, or those behaviors may not be desirable by us, but they exist for a reason. So let's start with the definition of, let's see, let me change my screen, positive reinforcement. The symbol for positive reinforcement is R for reinforcement, and positive because it's added to the environment. So a positive reinforcer is any event that happens after a behavior that causes the future rate of that behavior to not only increase, but to maintain. So if the behavior isn't increasing, but it's still there, it's staying there because it's being positively reinforced. There's something being added to the environment that is causing that behavior to maintain. So I want to give a couple of different examples. And I'm going through 3 different species, and I give 3 different examples. Okay. So, an example here, I have written it down. So I'm trying to think of common examples in the household, and I start with dogs because a lot of people have dogs. A dog wants tactile attention. It wants to be touched from its caretaker. This is my dear sweet Quincy sitting on my lap on the couch. It wants attention from its person. When the dog lays on the couch quietly while the person's watching TV, the dog gets petted. All right. When the dog gets up from the couch, the dog is out of reach from the person. And if the dog wants that tactile attention to be petted, the dog will jump back on the couch to attain that positive reinforcer. So the behavior of the dog jumping back on the couch is positively reinforced because the behavior is maintaining or increasing, and what is added is the person petting it. So the future predictable behavior is the dog will continue to lie on the couch to be petted. Jen, you're jumping ahead of me. Okay, so another example. So that's an example of positively reinforcing a desired behavior. So now I want to switch that to where we may unknowingly reinforce an undesired behavior. So person gets home from work, the dog has a great relationship with this person. Um, the dog runs to the door, jumps on the person. If the dog wants to be touched, wants that tactile attention, if the dog jumps on the person and the person touches the dog to push it down, or it can even like pet it real quick and say, okay, I want you to get down. If the dog was jumping for that tactile attention, we just reinforced that jump. We gave it what it wanted, because a lot of times what happens is when all 4 feet are on the floor, the people are busy doing other things. The dog wants the attention. We're not delivering that positive reinforcer when all 4 feet are on the floor. So the dog will jump again. The future predictable behavior, the dog will continue to jump to get touched and get attention from the person. So Jen, yes, um, you gave a very common example. So a second one, so I want to give examples with a couple different species of animals. So here's one, and even if this doesn't pertain, if this species of animal doesn't pertain to you, listen to the behavior. Listen to the undesired behavior, the positive reinforcer for the undesired behavior. Here's another example. Parrot is calmly sitting, almost said shitting, that too. The parrot is calmly sitting on the caretaker's shoulder while you walk around the house and do chores. And to me, this is a desirable behavior because I can do 2 things at once that I like. I can be close to my companion animal, and I can continue to use both of my hands to continue to get my work done. My parrot is right here. I can lean over and kiss them. So the person that walks around with the parrot on the shoulder to get chores done. This is very common in the companion parrot community. While spending time with the parrot, and the parrot will continue to sit on their shoulder. This is a common one. This is a common one I get asked about a lot. Okay, so there you can tell that the positive reinforcer for the parrot sitting up calmly on the shoulder is being with the person, being near the person, having those intermittent schedules of kissing, talking. Those are all forms of attention. Here's another one. Okay, here's where you can unknowingly reinforce positively and reinforce an undesired behavior. The person wakes up in the morning getting ready for work. The parrot hears the person getting up, getting ready for work. The parrot starts screaming. The person goes to the parrot and gets the parrot to get the screaming to stop or to calm the parrot. Future predictable behavior. The parrot will scream to get the caretaker's attention and spend time with the person. So that's how we unknowingly reinforce an undesired behavior. So in all of these examples, desired and undesired behavior by the people, it's desired by the animal or it wouldn't continue to get it. And the consequences it's getting is getting it the behavior it wants from us, and us unknowingly reinforcing that undesired behavior. Okay, so here's another common one that I hear quite a bit and I get contacted about quite a bit. We have a pig. Okay, pigs are very unlike dogs. Very unlike dogs. Um, So a person is in the kitchen making dinner, and as they're chopping up their salad, they throw an occasional vegetable to the pig standing by their feet. Intermittent schedules of reinforcement. Um, there's no undesired behavior happening here, right? Or maybe there is, unless you don't want your pigs calmly standing by your feet. So when you throw an occasional food piece to that pig, the pig is standing there, it continues, that behavior of the pig standing next to you is maintaining. So that means that behavior of the pig standing next to you is being positively reinforced. The future predictable behavior, the pig will stand next to the caretaker's feet while they make dinner. Um, Makes sense? All right. Here's an example of unknowingly reinforcing an undesired behavior with a pig. And this is the first step to undesirable consequences with pigs. So the person moves to the dining room and sits down to eat dinner with their family. The person gets involved, talking in conversation with their family. Pig moves to follow the person, and the person is no longer paying attention to the pig. Why would the pig not continue to follow the person? It's paired you with the delivery of the food. So the pig is still sitting here, standing next to you, sitting on the chair. It was earning positive reinforcement in the kitchen. Now you're involved in talking with your family, and um, your attention is redirected to them and not on the pig. The pig isn't getting the food that you were once delivering. So that behavior is no longer working for the pig. So it will try something else. It manipulates its environment. It nudges you on the leg. That gets your attention. You turn and look. Oh, here's a tomato from my salad. Um, that can go south very fast. I know from living with pigs, working with pigs. So the future predictable behavior here is the pig will quickly learn to start nudging the person's leg for the food because it worked. You just reinforced that behavior. And if you, this is what I commonly see in the pig community, if the pig learns, nudge the leg, food, it gets your attention, food is delivered. And if it starts nudging your leg again and you don't feed, then that's usually when I see pigs get frustrated real quick, and it'll nudge harder. A lot of times they start rooting into your leg and then the bite happens. Okay, so next I want to talk about the importance of using positive reinforcement. I've given you examples of reinforcing desired and undesired behaviors. Now, the importance I've used before I knew any better, and put myself back to school taking master level classes in applied behavior analysis to help the animals in my care and help understand behavior. I did use force. I did use aversives. Aversives are something the animal doesn't like. Positive reinforcers are something the animal does like, that they get as a consequence for behavior. Um, I would use force. I would push a dog. I would yell, scream, whatever to get a behavior to stop because I didn't have the information to know how to do any differently. So the importance of understanding positive reinforcement is numerous. I started listing them and I could be here all day. It can help us to motivate ourselves and others, the animals that we're working with. It improves relationships and achieves our goals more effectively. So here's a couple of other things that I've learned over the years. So I've been using positive reinforcement and application and behavior analysis for probably 17 to 18 years now, and I've made my business out of it. So the reason I continue to use positive reinforcement and applied behavior analysis are numerous, is because of how effective it is. Animals want to do the requested behaviors, and you guys feel free to post why you think positive reinforcement works. Also post why you don't think it works, why it hasn't worked for you, because after this live stream, I'm going to go through and read it, and I'm going to start incorporating it into next Sunday's Coffee with Critters. I will do my best to address everything based on my education and the experience I have uh, with numerous different species of animals. A lot of the species of animals I work with, you cannot use force because you will be hurt immediately. So here's a couple of things I've listed off the top of my head before I start giving more examples. The importance of understanding positive reinforcement. The animals want to do the requested behaviors. It creates motivation. I love it when I see motivation in an animal, and that is going to be a topic in our upcoming workshop on, do you see motivation? Do you know what motivation looks like? Here's how I tell when I've got motivation. Animals are motivated to do behaviors. When animals, those keys clanking on my pants that I intentionally put there because it's a conditioned reinforcer, it cues all these animals that not only a person is coming, but Lara Joseph is coming. I am different from every other person. This helps cue behaviors. And a lot of times when animals hear me coming, see me coming, they'll fly as close to me as possible. They'll run, they'll wait, they'll station because they know that what I have is going to bring desired consequences to them. Um, Positive reinforcement is enriching. You hear me say that studies show if we're actually using positive reinforcement training, it's the animal's preferred form of enrichment. It empowers the animal. It gives them choice, control, and complexity over their environment. It increased trusts. Animals are eager. Your list of reinforcers will grow. Your list of reinforcers will change, and we'll talk about that next week. It strengthens the relationship and the bond between that particular animal and this particular person, and we can use it to generalize behavior, so to increase bonds and relationships with other people. It's a clear line of understanding. It is a very clear line of understanding. And I wrote down here on the side right before, it gives information to the animal. When we label animals as unpredictable, aggressive, fearful, anxious, those are all signs of lack of information. The animal is lacking information, and it is depending on us to give it that information. So it creates that clear line of understanding. It helps teach animals to understand contingencies, helps teach them to learn to read our behavior. We can read their behavior. And it's mentally and physically stimulating. That is the list I designed real quick before we started. Okay, so let's move on. I've got 7 more minutes. All right, so keywords: understanding positive reinforcement. What are positive reinforcers? Positive reinforcers are something of value. Oh, I forgot to put up my screen. Positive reinforcers are something of value to the animal. We identify those positive reinforcers and then we deliver them for desired behaviors. And next week or the following week, we're going to talk about, is this bribing? Is this manipulation? The downfalls of what people will say about positive reinforcement. I want to hear those because I am eager to tell you my experience with it. So there are things that positive reinforcers is something of value to the individual that the individual can attain after a behavior, as a consequence for a behavior. Positive reinforcers can change when the environment changes. So let me give you a couple more examples. I don't have a lot of photos of animals doing undesired behaviors because I try to prevent them as soon as I see the cues. So here's an example. Dog likes boiled chicken. This is how I'm giving examples now of how positive reinforcers can change. So you want to make a list of positive reinforcers, everything of value to that animal in its daily, hourly, minute, weekly environment. Pay attention to when the environment changes. And when the environment changes, environmental events are something like my lights go out. That's something that happened in environment. If my lights went out right now, it's going to change my behavior. You're going to see me look up at the light. You're going to see me look around like what happened. So that environmental event has affected my behavior. So dog likes boiled chicken. When the dog is at home, the person asks the dog to sit, the dog sits, the person gives the boiled chicken. Okay. The future predictable behavior of the dog is that it's likely going to sit when I ask it to sit, because it has learned that positive reinforcers come, such as boiled chicken. Here's an example when the environment changes, and this is why people get confused. Dog goes for a walk at the park, sees another, oh, forgot to change my screen. Dog goes for a walk. I never want to see this behavior, especially from any of my dogs. Sees another dog. The dog starts growling, barking. The person asks the dog to sit. It will not sit. I've seen this so many times, but I've asked it to sit and it's not sitting. Your environment has changed. Have you shaped? Have you trained? Have you prepared for this pretty intense environmental change? So when your environment changes, the positive reinforcer can change. So the positive reinforcer here for the dog, like even if I were to stick boiled chicken in front of this dog's face, which I would not do, I guarantee you that dog is not going to pay attention to it. So I want to just give examples of environmental changes, and we can shape and train for these environmental changes. Pig goes to a station. This is something I train every animal I work with, especially pigs. A station is an area where you ask the animal to go to, and it stands, sits, lies there for a small period of time until you cue it to do something else. This is great. Every pig needs to know how to station. This is great for creating distance. Say if a stranger walks in the door and the pig is likely to charge the stranger, you have to shape and train for this major environmental change. So a station for Milo, it is a taped square on the floor. Ask a pig to station. It knows if it goes to the station, it gets positive reinforcers from you, environmental change. The pig is stationing. Do I have a picture of this? Yeah. The pig is stationing. A stranger walks in the room. You ask the pig to station. The pig starts squealing at the stranger. And no matter how many times you ask it to station, it continues to squeal at the stranger. The stranger walking into the room is an environmental event that will change behavior. This is the importance of growing that list of positive reinforcers. Another example. Boop, boop, boop. Ooh, that is not what I wanted. Where's my parrot sitting on my shoulder? I forgot to upload that. Okay. I do have it here. There. Did I already show this? That's right, because this is not the one I wanted to show. Sorry. So here's another common one with a parrot. All right. Parrot is sitting contently on my lap, getting head scratches while I'm watching TV. This is a positive reinforcer for this individual parrot. It's easy for parrots to get over bonded to one person. This is what we try to prevent because of what happens next. The future predictable behavior is the parrot will continue to sit on the lap to obtain the positive reinforcer. while I'm sitting here watching TV. Here's an environmental change. Parrot is sitting contently on the person's lap, getting petted while watching TV. Husband walks in, sits next to the wife, and the parrot either bites me or lunges after, flies after, and bites the husband. These are examples of when your environment changes, the positive reinforcers will change. And we'll get into the list of positive reinforcers next week. When we talk about operant conditioning, I'm going to try to stick to positive reinforcement. This is using B.F. Skinner's laws of behavior, how positive reinforcement strengthens the behavior by adding a desirable consequence. Applied behavior analysis. I'm trying to keep this. Applied behavior analysis and positive reinforcement go hand in hand. And using environmental events to control behavior, to modify behavior, to change behavior, to teach new behaviors. I am here because I want to empower the animal sitting beside me. I want to empower the animals sitting beside you. And I want to empower you by giving you the information to prevent undesired behaviors, to change undesired behaviors, and to make the future of the two of you living together very strong. Where's my camera? Sorry, I accidentally hit taking me off screen. I want to empower the two of you because that will set you up for success. So join me next week for part 2 and possibly a part 3. If you like the information you are hearing in this live stream, please share it with people so they at least have a basic understanding. I don't care if they come to me for advice, or for help. I don't care if they go to somebody else who clearly understands positive reinforcement. And in next week's topic, we'll talk deeper about understanding positive reinforcement. I want you guys to get the information that you are looking for. If you like this information, tune in next week. Take a look at our website, theanimalbehaviorcenter.com. We talk about this all the time. Level 1 for companion animals, level 2 for professionals or people, board certified behavior analysts in the field who want more content on understanding behavior. We also have our podcast where we deliver a monthly podcast on diving deeper, and we dissect behavior with numerous different species. We also have our projects, which are species specific, such as the pig project, which Nicole, I saw you in here, the parrot project, where we do nothing but talk about how to work with this with different species of animals. We have our webinars on whether it's behavior based, such as understanding positive reinforcers, understanding reinforcement, working with different species of animals. Also, take a look at our services. We have our workshops, a day with the trainer. We have our custom workshops, which somebody is getting ready to book. Where you and your team come in and I work side by side with you. So with that being said, I'm 4 minutes over and I will see you next Sunday morning on Coffee with the Critters. Thank you, everybody, for attending, and share if this will help somebody that you know needs help.